Hi, Noye.
Good afternoon. I'm well. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, Hope your people will come early today because I don't know if I'll be able to stay up to 2 hours.
Oh, I mean, I'm hoping they'll join in very soon. I'm still waiting. Maybe by 1:15, we should have more people and we could start.
Hmm.
How long do you have to stay with us today?
Um, an hour plus, because I feel I have a not meeting really, but yes, I'm meeting someone, whereas I'm supposed to be there by 3. So expectedly, I'm supposed
Okay.
to this place before 2:30 to make.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
So let's say
Hopefully,
between 2 to 2:15 to 30 max.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Hmm. Good afternoon, Dr. Francis.
Hey, afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Good.
Hi there. I think we can just start, right? Okay, thanks. Okay, good afternoon, everyone again, and good to meet you for the second Sunday running. Just like we did the last time, can I get like a show of hands, or you can unmute yourself and indicate if you have the SQL workbench running in front of you? I'm hoping everybody today has that running. Also, please, can anybody confirm you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so um, I asked for confirmation. I'm dropping in the link again to our data set so that we can download, and last week we talked about how to get the data into Workbench. But first, I really want to see how many people have Workbench on their systems. And it's running actually. Joshua, Oyinlola, Idris. Noye, do you have it running in front of you?
Yeah, I do.
Who else?
Kinsley, unfortunately, I changed my computer, so I have to, I think, install all those new, those softwares. Really, I don't have.
Oh, okay. Joshua?
Okay. Also for me, yes, I had it and it wasn't connecting to it was showing an error somewhere. So in fact, I had the intention of calling Chinoye to help me later on after today's call.
Oh, okay.
So we did.
Okay, so Noye is like, it's going to be you because based on how last class went, I planned today to have like different people trying different things and sharing their screen. So we learned that way. But okay, I'll just start off. And first thing I will do is to just do a quick recap of the major things from last week, and then we enter into the remaining ones for today. Let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see it.
Okay, fantastic. So I had prepared some scripts down so that we don't deviate as much as we did the last time. So in each of these lines of code, I would just typically just if you can try to also get the data into your own machine so that we can also know if I am getting the same, if you are getting the same thing I am getting. But first off is that last week we talked about
I can't hear you very well, Kinsley.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, it's better now. Thank you.
Oh, sorry about that. So we talked about the DDL, the DCL, the DML, and TCL, but the major ones are the top three: data definition, data manipulation, and data control. I am guessing we remember and understand how these things are. I will also mention something about the schema, which is the presence or the environment you are doing whatever tasks you are doing. So everything we do, tables we create, functions we define under this SQL workbench are all under this default schema that SQL workbench gives you. We have everything referencing that particular schema. Then we talked about the different the different functions also under the different languages. For instance, we mentioned that in the data manipulation language, we have the select, insert, update, delete, and others. Just to ask a quick question to see if we can remember. The data manipulation language, what does the function affect? Does anybody remember? So just to give you an expo, we said first off is that the data definition affects the table. So data manipulation will affect what? Okay. So we mentioned last week that for data definition, which is create, alter, drop, rename, and we also mentioned the difference between using truncate and using the delete function in data manipulation. That in data definition, whatever you're affecting is either bringing in data into the table or taking out data out of the table, right? Or changing a column identity in a table. But data manipulation is talking about the particular data that was brought into the table, querying that table contents, either especially. So the first off is fields refer to the columns, while records are referring to the rows. So as much as data definition is affecting the records, data manipulation is affecting the rows. So why data control is actually talking about the different access rights we give to a particular schema. So just to recap, remember we mentioned that the major and most powerful function in SQL is the select. We did a bit of touch on updates, we did a bit of touch on insert, and some of the other small functions that we can find under data manipulation. But since majority of what you use in your day-to-day using SQL is select, we'll just focus on the different kind of ways you will use the select statement. So for example, in this first line, can anybody just tell me what I am trying to do? Nobody is telling me. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we can
Hi.
hear you.
But nobody is answering. So in this first line, what am I trying to do here? Okay, so let me just go over it again. What I typically, so normally, it's always good you have one sheet that is like a rough sheet, because many times you will be needing to, so typically in the environment I use at work, right, is a Python environment, so I don't get all these results. But SQL Workbench, like I mentioned last class, is just because of this I installed it. So many times if I want to see, for instance, two things are important when you're working on SQL. It's good that you have the relationship diagram, and also good that you have a workspace that you just write short queries to try whatever you are doing before reflecting on your main. Like for this one, I also included it in the link I sent, right? So I included it in the link I sent. You can see it under new folder, the Northwind diagram. So you see this diagram is super important, because that is what will help you to understand the relationship across the tables. So first off, what most people do is when you get all your tables, you create those relationships. And if you don't have the relationships, you look for how to create them, which is simple. Create product ID, for example, if there was no product ID in this thing, and you map the product ID from here to this place. So that is top level anyway. But the important thing is just to have your diagram always handy so that you know what the relationships are, especially when you're doing a join. So I query here, select star from orders, and I see all the different data inside our order table. Correct? Now, if I want to do any count on any of these tables, say for instance, I want to know the number of orders that we currently have in our table, right? I can say on this place, I want to get the count of what order ID from orders, and I run that. It tells me that it's 830, right? So what if I actually say this order ID should be grouped by country? I think we have country here. I think I saw, okay, ship country. Remember what we said group by is used for from the last class. Should we see? Can anybody tell me if I wanted to see the top 5 countries where we get orders from, what should I add to it? Naya, can you help? Let's try to make the class interactive so we will actually move at a faster pace. Remember we mentioned something about descending and ascending. So if I want to see top 5, I indicate first order by. I'm seeing the top 5, right? Now I don't want to see this thing as count or whatever, the code I wrote here. So let me just change it as number of orders. Correct? And I say here number of orders. So remember, it will do a default order in what? In ascending order. But we want to see the top 5. Remember, let me just organize this thing for code efficiency so that we can see what I'm writing. So we said you should order it here, but I want to see it in descending. We see it's now in descending order. But my interest is only to see the top 5. Sorry. This is the top 5. I don't know if we get it or if anybody is confused at any stage. So first, remember, I remove this guy. First thing I wanted to do was to see how many orders do we have for each country. And then I included it. But just having this information doesn't make sense to anybody. It's just as good as giving him the table back. But then I want to see the orders side by side by the countries where the values were gotten. I included ship country. right? And how do I know the different columns under others? I have come here and asked this thing to show me what the information in others is like. So after that, I want to see the top 5. First, I have to group, order them using a particular column, and then I indicate how many rows of data I want returned for that my query. Is there any question on this?
No from no.
Okay. So
Thank you.
I will scatter this and I will ask, please, I think Joshua was the one that talked now. So you will just help me. First is I want to get information from the products table. And from here, I just look for my products table to see what it is like. So this is how products table looks like. And then I want to get the total number of products in stock for each product. So what do I do? For each product, I want to see the total number in stock.
I say count product ID.
Mm,
No.
remember,
Sorry, let me see the table again. So let me see the table again.
this is the products table,
There's the product table.
and this is units in stock. I want to see for each product, I want to know the number of units available.
Okay. So
I can leave this page, right?
can we? Yes.
Okay. So the first thing we are selecting is the product name, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what am I selecting? What other thing am I trying? Will I get?
Then we count the product in stock and
Okay.
order.
So we have some other functions, right? In SQL. Remember from last week, we have average, we have sum, we have count. We also have the numerical plus, times, minus, divide, etc. Right? So does that help?
Yes. If you can execute, then I will
Right.
follow and next. Okay.
So I've helped them. We are using units in order, correct?
Yeah.
On order. No, I don't think that's it. Units in stock. Correct?
Okay.
So remember we said we want to see it for each product.
Yes. Yes.
So what do we use to see them by each product? Product name. But just to add, for us to see the same thing we did the other time, we are ordering by, remember, I don't normally like seeing this. Total stock. Okay, fantastic. So, yeah, this is what we get. I can still change this guy to this, or I don't indicate anything. See, there are some products that we are even out of stock. So if I wanted to see only products that are out of stock, remember we add the where statement. So in essence, we don't need these guys. Oh, okay. What was written? So I want to use the formula. Okay. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. So what I was hoping to what I was hoping to achieve with this, we know that we can do two things to our tables. The first is not recommended. The second is recommended, in the sense that if I should remove all of this, the aliases, and run this, we see how our table looks. Oh, I didn't remove this one. Now compare with when I have the aliases included. We see the difference. So your table header is more, looks better if you use an alias to indicate what your query should replace, what the natural table header should be. The important thing here is that many times you are not allowed to create tables with spaces in between. Even though, yes, if you are working in a Python environment, you can actually have create that, but you now use a square bracket. So that's SQLite actually allows you to do that. But on the standard SQL rule is that you shouldn't have spaces between different characters. Yeah. So I really wanted to just run through this. But if I am moving too fast, especially for those that were not with us last week, you can actually draw me back, and then we'll take a look at what your concern is. So we mentioned something last week about the count and the distinct count, right? So if, for instance, we do this, what it will return for us is all the only the countries without repeating them in our table. If I should include a count here, . 90. So we have a total of 90 countries in our table. That's what that guy just gave us. So this also is just to select all from the table of customers where the country of the customer is Germany. So if we run this, we see that only customers from Germany will be returned. This references this that we discussed last week, the different operators you can use: greater than, equal to, less than, greater than, equal to, or not equal to. So we can say where products, select products and product where the unit price is greater than 10. So this was what we just did. Number of countries. Exactly. I don't know if anybody can explain what I was trying to get from this. How is it different from what I am trying to get from this? Who can help us? Hello, anybody? So remember we mentioned that if you have numerical operators and you have specific value targets, you can put all your values in a bracket, right? Or you can create a list typically, put all the values in it, and then select. It will give you only the records for the values that you've indicated, something like this. So see, this guy will not give us any unit price that is outside the range we have selected. But you see, this guy will give us every information that is between 30 and 35 or greater than 30 for units in stock. So the key operator here is up. We are getting for unit price 30 and 35, and for units in stock greater than 30. So that is the difference between the two. Whenever you have your or, you can either decide to go out of the table or the column you are making your selection from and use another selector to qualify what you want. And also we talked about the min max. You can get minimum unit price. You can also get maximum unit price from any of your tables once it is the numerical variable. And we also mentioned the limits at the top. The first thing we did. The limit is actually a very powerful function that helps you to limit the amount of data you are taking out. Imagine so typically you'd not want to have a lot of data because a lot of data returned to you because you'd not be able to see anything outside the top and the bottom. So it's always usually advised if you are trying to confirm a request to limit the data that is presented to you, or you drill down in multiple levels so that you get a precise result. So I've talked about max, I've talked about counts, we've talked about the group by and the other by, and we've also mentioned that we can select different columns from one table and it will truncate every other thing, giving us only the columns that we have selected. Okay, so that brings us to the join. That was where we stopped last week. The join, like I mentioned, is the most used function in SQL because typically on SQL you will have tables from different sources sitting separately. nobody will create the relationship between the tables for you. It is when you are querying, you will create that relationship at that moment, and it will take the data, and you can actually query something, get the data, and store it, so that whenever you call on that particular table that you've created, you will get that result that you queried formally. We'll get there. But this is the join. Remember last week we mentioned about the left join, the full join, this right join, and we also mentioned the union. So let us take a look at how this join was done. And also, I think I prepared something for that too. You can do exactly multiple joins, like join table A to B and table B to C, table C to D. You can do as much as 5, 6, 7, 10 joins. It's not advisable because then your query takes a longer time to process and give you results, but you are not limited to the amount of joins you can do. So, so far, am I moving too fast or am I leaving anybody on the road? No, yeah? Lola,
I'm here.
you said Joshua.
Yes, I'm
So we are still on track, right?
Yes.
I'm hoping. Okay. Maybe after this first join, I'm going to ask us to do something, and we will be the ones to tell me what I'll do. So let's see what we did here. We said select last name, first name, order date, ship name. What is the first thing I come to do? I look at all this information. Where am I getting last name from? First name, order date, ship name. I am getting last name and first name from the employees table, correct?
yes.
Then I am getting order date and ship name from which table? From orders.
Yes.
Exactly. So the syntax is my primary selection. Imagine, let me query this again so we see. So my primary selection is employee table, and I can include as many things I want from employee table here. And my secondary selection is this orders table. So I indicate that I am picking from employees table. If I should run this alone, this will give me an error because order dates and ship name are not in employees table. Then my join comes in. I tell it join. I immediately mention the secondary table I want to create the join on. And I say join orders on employees.employee ID. What am I telling it to do here? Primary key. So if we look at employees table and orders table, what unites them? We can see employee ID here and we can see employee ID here. This is a foreign key on orders table. Employee ID is a primary key on employees table. That is the first thing we should note. Your primary table in your join should always first be the one with the primary key. The one you'll be creating your join on should have should have primary key from the primary table that relates with it as a second as a foreign key in the second table. So for each of these tables here, you will see their primary keys indicated with this key, right? And here, employee ID is primary key here and foreign key here. And then we use it to union the two tables. It means I can select everything on this table as much as it relates with this employee ID for every other thing on the second table. So if we run this, this is the result we'll get. So it tells us this last name, first name, the other date, and the ship name was this. I can still choose to come here. Let me see others. Okay. So I can still choose to come here and say, also show me the ship address. What did I do? Oh. Okay. So I can pick every single thing from others table or every single thing from employees table, as long as I have merged both of them on their specific keys. Now, there is another way you can query a table without even having this playing a big impact. I can come here and say last name dot employees, right? First name dot employees, right? Other dates dot others. So I can also choose to go this route, but this is not standard process, except when you have a lot of joins and you now want to not get confused, to make a mistake on what are you joining what on. So let us do a small practice. Now I want to see the unit price. I want to see the unit price of all the products. The unit price of all the products that we have, right? So I want to see both the unit price and the revenue we can get from each product. So two things I need will be product ID, right? And the unit price, and then my unit price times quantity. So can anybody tell us how to go about this? Definitely, I think I've given an expo already that it is other details and products we are working with. So what is our primary? Okay, let us do it together. What will be our primary query table? What table are we querying first? Hello?
Yeah.
So what table are we querying to primary query table? Remember, we want to get unit price revenue that we get for each product. So we do it. So we are selecting from products. So product name is the first thing we are selecting. The other thing we still want to see is unit price, right? And we also want to see the revenue, which is what? Unit price times quantity. Correct? From which table? Products. I don't know if it makes sense to us. If I'm writing nonsense, please, you should tell me. Okay? So from product, I declare my join. What is our secondary table? Other details. On what's our primary product dot product ID? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Is equal to other details plus product ID. Let's see. Unit price is ambiguous. SQL. Okay. It says SQL. Okay, so let's try this because the sum still give us same thing. All right. See. High unit price. Hmm. So what is happening here? No, I am not sure why. I am confused actually. Why this is giving an error? But yeah, that's post script. Alright. So let us try something. Let us try something. Okay. So let's just go on because maybe somebody can try this in their own system. Show me the difference.
We can't hear you well.
Can you try this your own system and let me know if you're getting the same error, both for the unit price and the quantity? Yeah, let's know. Just try it and let us know. Okay, let's just continue. For instance, we tried here to get product name and company from the product. That's trying to see which products are supplied by which companies. Correct? The first primary is our product name from the product table, and the second is the company name from the suppliers table. And we're joining these two on supplier ID. Correct. So let me just say this actually is the same error. It's wrong. So why? Thing as right. So is this your workbench, guys? You know this error then. Is there any differential functions? So that is that. Remember I mentioned you can do multiple joins, correct? For instance, in this place here, but this is the same. So this our SQL workbench is actually, I don't know, it's not fantastic if you ask me, because it's limiting what can be done. So in essence, it was asking that I, let me just try it and see if it works anyway. Alright, this is for, then we move. So you say, so SQL workbench, because this is a numerical function here, it's required us to indicate the table where we are getting unit price and other details from, even though we have indicated it here. So yeah, that's what SQL workbench found. So you just give it to it. I don't know, Maya, if you try it and you get the same error. I still want to know if you are getting the same error on your end. But yes, today, this is where the error was coming from. Okay, so back to our multiple joins. So we see that here we are selecting customer name. Doing this calculation we did from the SQL from this table. Let's go there so that we'll see what we're talking about. So this is our orders table, and this is our order details table, and we are getting customer. So we want to see customers and what they purchased. Because the data we want is not here, this is where it is. We have to create a relationship with this and then create a relationship with this so that the detail we want for each of these customers can be gotten from this table. That is exactly what was done here. We want customer name, which is our primary source, from this table. Customer relates only with others, like we can see here. I don't know if anybody can tell me the relationship between orders and customer that is absent in other details. Anybody? Okay, it is customer ID. So we created a relationship with others using customer ID, and then from others created a relationship with other details using other ID. That's the first thing. So the idea is don't jump the flow. Imagine we created this relationship before this one. Then the query will return an error for us because primarily it didn't see any relationship for others, for other ID before it is looking for the customer ID. That's just the idea. So I'm really trying to run so that we can finish up everything about functions today. But is there any confusion in this flow for the multiple joins? Let me see if I can create something still further from here.
No, for me, there's no confusion so far. That is because we are trying to look for relationship between the three database. So we collect using a customer IDs first that connect the other database with the other details. And then from there, when we now discover that we have a relationship we can connect with
Other details.
there's other details, then we go from there. So I think it's clear.
Yeah, fantastic. One thing that just popped into my head, even myself in my when I started querying database to get information is, let me try something. The group by function is actually one of the most important in the select statement. Why I'm saying so is you typically can, let me just try, let me write some, check something. You typically can request for an information, say, exactly, say an information of employee and say I want to see the number of employees that are from a particular country, right? What will come to your head typically is to just get country and count of maybe employee ID. But then if you don't indicate that I want this count to be grouped by the country, it will give you all the distinct, if it will give you non-distinct counts of the employee ID for the different countries. So it may give you Germany and 5, maybe 2 times. So in I just want to indicate, just let us know that whenever you are using any of the numerical functions, especially the ones that are you are using on a non-numerical column or data, like the count, the average, the sum, you know, it's always good to indicate your order by for it to know that, okay, I am doing this calculation based on this particular condition. I don't know if it makes sense because I just saw it here and I knew that when I was trying this thing out, this was something I was jumping and it wasn't giving me the result I wanted. So we continue. I think this should be easy for us. And then the union. From the last class, we mentioned that union is typically to just get information from one table, information from another table, and put them side by side. This is just typical union, right? So I want to see all the countries from both my suppliers and both my customers so that I know, oh, do I have a customer maybe in Nigeria, but I don't have any suppliers in Nigeria. So how do I treat that kind of situation? So your union is different from the join in the sense that it is just giving you information from table A and from table B condensed together. And then the where exists. So this is where we're supposed to continue today. So this is another way of a multiple select statement in one. You are telling what we typically have here is that we are requesting for the company name of our suppliers, right? But we want it to only give us information on the suppliers that have particular products with given unit price. Let me bring this down here so that we'll see everything. So we want it to give us the information for particular products with a relationship on the unit price. We can't we can also do that using a join and using the where statement. But that will now be long because imagine you are having to do multiple joins to just get this information. You just have a function that is there for you to use, a where exists. So let me run this so that you can get a bit of feel of what I'm saying in essence. So I don't know if you get what I'm saying now. I want to know the products that are supplied by customers by a supplier, but the product unit price is a given number. So now we get this detail and we can do different things. Maybe we are trying to plan a marketing campaign and then, an SIP program, sales incentive program for this particular products because their unit price are this and we are planning to maybe increase price, or we have high stock counts of these products and we are trying to do a sellout. So the where exists function typically does that for you. And look at the syntax. I do my normal select statement. I can close this from here and do my normal select statement. And it should just give me all the products from the suppliers, right? But I now say, hey, I don't want all of these products. I want products that have a unit price less than 35. Or I can come here and say between let's say between 50 and 80. I can write anything typically. And it gives me that information. So where exists another very interesting function. Where true. So this is a Boolean confirmation of I want products from product name where true. So the important thing here is the where statement is used on multiple times to help you to do your different selections. Now, hope nobody is lost. Hello? These are class sometimes scary that I am not passing knowledge. I'm probably just saying.
No, you are, Kingsley. You are. I believe we are. Everybody is
Okay.
connected and listening. But for me, I'm listening and I'm following. So you are truly impacting knowledge, Kingsley. And you know, when all of this is over, sometimes it might be that I'm not getting something right, and I don't want to slow down the class. And I feel it's something that I can always, you know, when I listen to the recording, I can always pick up. So I might just be quiet and feel, and maybe other people are doing the same thing. So it doesn't necessarily means that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Gotten. But I'm just hopeful they can really try out. Get
Yes,
it.
for me, from next week, I will get my workbench load and we can follow through. Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think we are almost at the end because I think after the case statement, yeah, it's just index and view. Okay. So the any function is also quite interesting in the sense that, so just to indicate something here, we have functions that allow us to do embedded select. Let's notice the union. So we get it. Another one.
I can't hear it again. Sorry.
So I said there are particular allow is another on the bigger level. We don't if we're using.
So you're no longer audible. Is that only applicable to me? No,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you are now. Thank you.
Possibly network because I didn't change the position. So what I was saying is the consciousness of the statements that allow us to use multiple select statements, because you know what the select statement does is you tell the will I call it robot now, or the system, the application, to go into a particular table and give you this result based on the different query variables. If you're working on command line where you will not be getting this kind of results for different things, right? If you are on SQL CMD, for instance, you won't write a query, it gives you a result, and then you go back to change that to give you another result. No. Once you put it in, it gives you, you've utilized that line. So many times, even for your normal select statements, to maybe know your quantity range. For instance, I want to know the unit price. What is my the unit price? What's the minimum unit price? What's the maximum unit price? What is my unit price midpoint? You know, all of that you can do using different select statements. So what I'm saying in essence is the functions that allow us to embed multiple select statements just by virtue of their syntax are actually known to be very powerful and useful in the sense that it's not allowing us to do select state to get data from the database at different lines of code. So this is another one. Remember we mentioned the where exists and the union. And in this one, It is also quite a very simple syntax. And in this case, we are trying to get product name from our products table, where the product ID, right, is related to products that have their quantities greater than 99. For instance, you can say that have their quantity greater than 0, right? So we know, no, let me even do equal to 0. We want to know orders that are bad orders, right? Imagine on many ERP systems, if you've created an order and you want to cancel that order, when you cancel the order, it only creates a return for the same quantity. It means that order was still generated, but what? The other quantity becomes 0, so that it balances your stock inventory and also doesn't mess up your chart of account. Nobody will, that means an error was made and there is visibility on when the error was made and how it was corrected. So that is the normal ERP flow. And that's what we want to sort of see here, that, hey, so we see that there is none. If I say greater than, maybe for some reason we want to see greater than 10, it will give us that. So that is where what this any allows us to do, to create another level of filter for a factor that is based on another table. Remember, if we're using a join statement now, we'll create a join from products, relate product ID to other details, right?
Yes.
Exactly. But that will mean a longer line of code and won't give us specifics on what we want at the moment. So the any function allows us to just put a query for the condition we want on our filter, and then our initial statement will use that query as it's here. So that's what the any function does. Why case is beautiful is just that this is not an Oracle environment. We would have probably done into packages and procedures, because those allow us to almost do close to the same thing as what this case does for us, but for procedures, we store them and we can call them at any time. So the case statement also allows you to do the same thing. It is saying that if condition A passes, work with condition A. If condition A is false, work with condition B. If condition B is false, work with condition C. So you can put many conditions, right, for a case statement. Say you are there is this thing, how do they yes, gratuity or something they do at work, and they give it for people your first 5 years, your first 10 years, your next 10 years, you collect again, 15 years. So you can run a case statement because different amounts are given to these people, right? If you run a case statement that, okay, give me employee name and employee department or employee ID, and if the person's if the count of the persons, or no, the typical thing is to do a difference. So if current date minus employment date is greater than or equal to 5 years, then 5,000 naira or something. If it is greater than or equal to 10 years, then maybe 10,000. If it is greater than or equal to 15, you know, and put all of that condition. So what this thing will now give you is, for the first one that is true, maybe Mr. ABC are greater than or equal to 5, to bring them, and then you put it, you finish that table, you go to the next one. Okay, it picks only those that are 10, So this is what this case does for you. That you can plug in different conditions, and it gives you the result based on those different conditions. So the syntax is that you select what you want first, you indicate your case, and then you indicate where it will get the table from. It's still your normal select statement, select this from this. But in between, instead of saying where whatever as single statements, you've indicated case and told it to give you all this information. I don't know if it's makes sense. Something we think we can easily try. So just to give us an example on this. First is that we said quantity greater than 30. What would be our response? Quantity is greater than 30. Quantity equal to 30, the quantity is equal to 30. Quantity less than 30, quantity is under 30. So you see for 12, under 30, for 40, greater than 30. Let's look for anyone that is 30. See, for 30, quantity is 30. So imagine that employee detail we were saying. It will give us the employee ID, the employee name, and tell us if they pass for either the 5-year gratuity, whatever, 10-year, the 15-year, the 25-year, the whatever year, and then plug in the different amounts the person is expected to receive. Like, you've done everything in just how many seconds? Instead of, first of all, writing in join, and then writing a calculation that the join will now pick based upon. So everything is just written under one statement. That's why the case function is typically used a lot. This is just another trial for the case. And
so what is the role? Sorry, Kingsley. If you go back to that first case, what is the role of end? You said end as quantity text.
Yes. So the role of end is, you've opened this case. Once you say case, the position of these statements, they are inside. Is just the same thing as it's just the same thing as these procedures. I was trying to
Yes. No, I got it that we are to end the case, but when you end the case and you are instructing on how you want it ended. So here you said end as quantity text, and I can see the one that follows. You just say end. End, there was no instruction.
Yes. So remember, let me go to where we used it. Remember this, what we called this.
As revenue, okay.
As is an alias. So we are saying we don't want you to give us a result, and this will not be the table header.
Okay.
So replace whatever results you get from here as what? Revenue. That's why when we ran this, we got our table to look like this. Product name and revenue. If I didn't include this, just watch what will happen. You see, this doesn't make sense as a table header.
Sure.
Just I wanted to export it and maybe send to my boss. He will be wondering what this is. So the alias helps us to give identity to whatever we have done. And that is why I included this.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
So for that other example I was given, that is typical of what we do at work. Typical alias for it is expected gratuity. Right? So once I run this and send it to the HR person or whoever, or those are the plans, they know what I am talking about. If I didn't include this, what it will just give me is quantity. But quantity is not what I am describing. So that's what this actually does. I don't know if it's clear.
Yes, it's clear. It's clear.
Okay. So that being said, I will okay, yes, I've not talked about view. So if you remember also from last class, I mentioned that typically DBA, that's the database administrator, will never give you direct access, maybe except maybe somebody explicitly requests. What they will mostly give you is a view access to the different tables. So I mentioned at the beginning that we can have our queries, and from our queries create a new table, right? Many times they would also not give you the access to create new tables, because for whichever table you create, you've plugged it into the system, it now has a relationship, and that relationship will always be indicating on the server. So most times what they will give you access to is a view. And you also, when doing your job and whatever, you would want to create views first before you are sure that, oh, this is what I finally want, and then you send it out. So views are like very, very useful. So first of all is that the same way you create your tables. Remember when we were creating our tables? I think we created our tables here. Yes. Remember when we created our tables last week? We indicated all the different parts of our table and how they should look. The same way for our view. We create our view and give it a name, and then we put a query. I don't need to explain this query that is written here because it's the typical thing we've been doing. We want product name and unit price from products, where the unit price is what the average unit price. So we want only to see products that are above our average unit price, and we want only those tables, that list of products and the unit price to be in this table that we call average unit price. So you can create as many views as possible, and it's beautiful in the sense that you create your view and you can use it for multiple other things without affecting the source table. I don't know if you get. So if I, for instance, come here and say select star, okay, I already wrote it before. If I say select star from this, it will give me typical results for a table. I can even come and say where unit price, greater than 50, and it will still give me a result as if I am working with a normal table. Yeah? So I can say between 50 and 100. To still give me just as if I was working with a typical table. That's the beauty about views. So many times it is usually fantastic. You create a view of the different tables. I can even create a view of a table I created from the multiple join statements and keep it somewhere. And I can, like, remember what we were saying here, that imagine we want to access a table that does not have any key relating to, remember that table we created, that we created a relationship between customer and another detail. The results from that query, we can actually store it in a view and now use it to maybe relate with suppliers instead of another time creating customers, orders, other detail, product, and suppliers. So we'll just use that view we created and relate it directly with suppliers, since both of them will now have an ID we can call upon. So that's what views are, and I think with this, I will say we have like very, very standard knowledge about SQL statements, how to query SQL tables, and also store their results in multiple or different tables. Next week, I will bring, so next week, I will really like it if everybody can come having their machines running with the workbench, because it will be really a sort of project. I will have different questions we'll be needing to solve for the company, and we will query these things, get the tables, and maybe make a presentation out of the different result of the answers we get. So it will be like a practice session to test what we have learned and probably practice during the week. So I think this should be the end of the class. I hope we learned something and I wasn't talking to myself. So
No, you
yeah,
have not.
if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and then we will go through it and see what's up. I have also included this particular script I used in that link I sent early in the class. So you see all even those from last week, everything is here. You can get all of them, including the tables that we have used. Feel free to try different things. Yeah, great one. Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Please thank Kirsty, before you go, I don't know if you have a few minutes for me to install because every time I try to install my workbench or my software, it keeps on giving me error, and I've done it and uninstalled like 4 times, even today. I started around 12 in preparation for the class, even to 12. That was around 11:30. So it's okay that this time I was going to get it ready and I work with the class. And it kept on giving me error messages.
Okay.
So maybe when everybody's disconnected, if you could just give me like 5 minutes of your time, I would be very grateful.
No problem. You can share your screen if you don't mind. So we see. Did you have it on that machine earlier? And then probably uninstalled and trying to reinstall?
Yes, I think I've already uninstalled it. Let me just share my screen so others can disconnect if they want, or they want to stay. It's fine. So I will share my screen now for you to see.
Okay.
So this is my screen. I think I've already done something here. Download. You can see, I think I have the installer community here.
Okay. So first,
Tell me.
let me just see the error first. Yes. Let me see the error before.
Okay, it's running. I need to go and disconnect my laptop. Okay. So I'm here. So anytime I try to log in, this is what I get. So can you hear me?
Yes. So what's the error?
So this is what I have. This is what I get now. If I try to
Okay.
install, yes.
So I'm guessing you probably have already installed it. Can you double click on MySQL Workbench? Okay. Can you click on Add? Yes. So click on all of these things and move them to the other side. No. Just click on the main. No. Click on the main, the MySQL servers. Just click on the MySQL server, like the name.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, just
Okay,
click on
this.
names. Yes. Move to the other side.
No, it's not. It's not
It's
moving.
not moving. No.
Unless I have to go through it individually and pick the version I want. Not even moving to.
Not moving. Let me confirm something here. Okay, can you go to your search Windows button? Click on that Windows button. Let me confirm something. Okay, so so it's actually already installed. Click on all apps. Just scroll down. Let me see if MySQL is part of it. Yes, so it's there. Click. Let's see what you have. Scroll down. Let's see. So that's Workbench. Yes. Select the Workbench. Exactly. So connect. Click on this local instance. Just double click on local instance.
Okay.
Okay. So you can either pin it to your taskbar. Connect server not running. Go to.
What about this error? Is this
No,
fine?
no.
This is not the problem, right?
Go to the query one. Click on query one. No, click on inside query one. Just after navigator. Or okay, click on server status. Let's see. Just click on server status. Did you double click?
Yes.
It's not opening anything.
not-
Check client connections. Let's see if it is running. No, client connections.
There's no connection to MySQL.
So click at the top of MySQL Workbench. You see this home button. Click on it. Let's see. No, at the top left of your screen, you see this house symbol, right?
This one?
Oh,
Hello, sorry, can you?
yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, you say I should click something at my top left.
Above five, you can see this house symbol.
This home. Yes, home.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So can you click on the next one? Let's see.
The next one. This right?
No, not that one. The middle one. The middle one. Like after this first exactly.
Okay.
So it's running. Why is it not? Wait. No.
Or is it possible to uninstall everything I have done and then install it afresh? Because I've listened to that video that was shared 2 weeks ago or so. And maybe I could follow that video one after the other and just walk through. But what I have there as at now, I try to uninstall it. And anytime I feel I've already uninstalled it, and I go back to download and follow the process, it keeps on giving me error saying something's already it's already on the server, it's already on your system, and all of those.
Okay, well, that is an option. I am trying to see on my side if I will be able to get connection running. Just give me a minute. So let's try something again. Click on that first one. You know, you are on the second one. Click on the first one again.
This one?
Yes. So double click on the instance. No. Before you double click on instance, can you click beside my SQL connections? There's a plus sign and there's a setting sign. Click on the setting sign. Let's see. Okay. Let me confirm if they are the same. So no problem here. Can you test the connection? Let's see. Unable to connect. Then I think you'll be needing to uninstall them because this is not working. It's the same details I have here.
Okay.
0.13306 root. So, okay, close. Let's try the uninstall option. So close this also. Close this one. So go to your search bar and type control panel. Let's start with that. No, the search bar down, yes. Okay, uninstall programs. Uninstall the program. SQL. Uninstall 3 of them. Workbench, server, shell, and installer community. 4 of them. No, install everything, like the 4 of them.
Why is it not moving? Okay, but the session is still being recorded. Do we want to record this part of the?
I think maybe you stop the recording before you don't think, um,
Okay, so I've done that, Kingsley.
So before you install, go to local
Okay.
disk,
Look at what?
local disk on your left,
Okay, that's my. Okay.
no, under this PC. Okay. No, see down. Then this PC, then local disk. So you program data. See, MySQL is still there. Open it. Workbench. Workbench. Okay, so it's not significant. Go back to local disk again. Open program data. Program data. To the head. So open the MySQL there. Server data. Open the data.
Slow.
No,
It's not responding.
that means it still has its file inside. Okay, can you go to the install? The place you have your installer.
Okay.
So
Okay, where I have the installer, right?
mm,
Which is download.
okay,
Yeah,
so
right.
right click and run as admin. Mm-hmm. Oh, show more options. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to have, does not have any install as admin.
What if I uninstall this one and then go through the download afresh? Maybe that was where there was a problem.
No, I don't personally think the download was the problem. Is it not just that I am from a website you downloaded?
Yes, yes.
Um, can you click on install from here? Let's see. Let's see what happens again. I don't see why there is no run as admin option.
This actually
So
is only valid for programs that
exactly.
are credit.
So it has installed. Okay, so let's just run it from here.
Okay. Can we start from here?
Okay, no problem. But I don't think that's the problem.
Let's look.
that gives you problems, we'll just try the one I also used. The one I downloaded with it's in that link I dropped on the chat. I open it.
Okay, the one you downloaded before, right?
The one I installed for my system. No, not on this. Oh, did they drop it?
Okay.
There was this link I dropped on the Zoom chat.
I don't have it. Okay,
Let me share it
can you
again.
share it again? Thank you.
Can you see it?
Okay.
I dropped it.
Thank you.
Hmm.
No. Okay, is it here? Can you see the screen?
Yeah. No, I can't see your screen. You stop sharing.
Oh, sorry. This.
Yeah, so scroll down. It has okay, it's still uploading. It's actually large, so you won't see it here yet. It's still uploading.
Okay. Sorry, Kingsley. Hello.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have it installed now.
Mhm.
This is the folder. So what should I do?
So you have to unpack
Download.
it, right? Because
Yes,
it's
I have,
in zip.
I have this.
Please go back to the browser that you installed, you downloaded it from.
Yeah.
So open file on this one. Now, see whose method is different from. You know what? Just to work with what I'm more familiar with. My own is just remaining
Yeah.
10 MB before you can save there.
Excellent. So we can just wait for that.
Yeah, I don't understand this method you guys use. Okay, so scroll up. Let's see if you can see there, or you can just refresh this.
Okay, I have it here.
Yeah, so download it, but that will take another time. But this one is very straightforward. Mm, that will take. I'll just mute and quickly do something. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Kesley. Are you still there? Hi, Kesley.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I'm so sorry. I know I've kept you for long on this.
Okay, has it downloaded?
Yes, it has downloaded.
Okay, just share.
Yes. So it's running now.
Okay. Sorry, I think your Windows security button is blinking. I don't know if you can click on it.
You say what?
The Windows security button beside the Zoom icon. No,
This
beside
one?
the Zoom icon. The one beside the Zoom icon is blinking. You see the
Wait,
shield sign. The zoom at the tax bar.
okay,
Beside it. The one beside it. Beside it. No, just at the left of the Zoom icon.
oh, okay.
Exactly.
Wait. Ah. Just a minute. Okay.
Yeah, developer default next. No, developer default. Wait. Okay. Wait. Just wait. Yeah, next. Yes. Okay. Wait. Um, close the X. I think select the connector Python. Select that, click inside. Check. Okay. So download it. Click on this link. The link there. No, that link, the link, Python. Yeah, you have to install it. So download, then run the install. Yeah, install now. Okay. Close.
Okay.
So go back to our. So check now. If you check now, check it now. Okay, next. Execute. Okay. So let it finish. Okay, next. Next. Let's click on the details. What's it? Wow. Continue. Let's see. Because now I can't control this. Just continue. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, finish. Yeah. MySQL. Yes. Okay. So the password. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay. What's the issue?
So your password should have numeral, a caps lock, an alphabet. Should have all these at, dash, whichever one caps lock, numeral.
What's the problem? I've tried different options. I don't.
Type that username part. Let's see. Then you
I should
just
do what?
copy. Type it in the username. Wait. Type it in the username part. Then copy it
Okay.
and put it and put there. Let's see.
Okay. So let's
I guess if anything you can remember.
okay. Okay.
I know it's short though. Should be up to 8 or 10.
Okay. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10. That's 10.
Okay, let's try it. Just cut it down. Wow.
It's sure. That should be used to create. Okay. So credentials provided in server configuration. Is that what we have provided? This route.
Yes, root is the standard configuration.
Okay. So what do I
Wait,
do
click
again?
on cancel first. Let's see something. Just click on
Ah.
cancel. Oh. Okay, click on next again. Let's see. Click on next. Let's see what it does. Just wait. Yeah, so now ask you for password now. Just click finish. Let's see what happens. Okay. So ask you for password. Click on this root local instance.
This one?
So ask you for password. So that's the problem. Let me check something.
Or could it be some kind of setting in a laptop that needs to be done? Maybe tomorrow I could give it to my IT team for them to check. Now that I've already downloaded the link, maybe they could work with that.
Yeah, IT team should be able to. The problem there was that password setting it up.
Yeah. Yeah, so that I don't keep you further. Kingsley, you really
Yes.
tried. You spent almost 1 hour doing this. Thank you so much.
No, no problem. But the password thing, if they can solve that, that's the problem. That's they should be able to get it from the root file in that program data. So let them just try. But if not, they can uninstall and start it again with that one from my link.
Okay,
And
okay, okay,
how they can fix it from there.
okay.
Oh,
Thank you so
okay,
much, Kingsley. I really appreciate it. God bless you, sir.
someday. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.